So in the beginning of 2019, I remember the very first day, we were just kind of praying and just asking God for direction. And we knew that there were some things that needed to change.
Amen.
There were some areas in our marriage that really needed to change and be healed. We were going through some things. There were some areas in our jobs that needed to change. And there were just some things that we knew that we needed a breakthrough in some areas. And we began to just seek the Lord. I realized there were some areas that I wanted a breakthrough, but we hadn't completely surrendered them to the Lord. And I really spoke to my husband about it. And I told him, I said, I really believe God wants us to sow a first fruits offering. Our very first paycheck, we were going to sow the entire thing.
Amen.
Right down to the penny. And by doing that, we were saying, God, you are number one in our lives.
The moment we sowed that seed, believe it or not, all hell broke loose.
Sure did.
We didn't know that we would have to go through a rough process, should I say, a process of shifting, a process of crunching and crushing and breaking, But the Lord said, in order for me to take you to the next level, then I have to rebuild your foundation.
Yes.
And in order to rebuild that foundation, He had to break and remove some things within our marriage, within our home, within us, that He needed to shift and change.
So that process of that crushing and pressing was all of a sudden, like we said, all hell broke loose, even in our marriage. Our marriage went through the most difficult season that we've been through in 27 years of marriage. It was where at one point I didn't know what was going to happen, and it was not an easy time. And when I tell you that I felt like that seed that we sowed, we watered it with our tears.
Amen.
It was a tough time, but in the middle of it, there were moments where I thought, God, what's happening? The opposite of what I prayed for. That's what it seems like it's happening.
And when we sowed that seed, not only that financial seed, but also ourselves, and we aligned ourselves with the principles and purposes of God, the windows of heaven opened, and we started to see God's hand and God's blessings upon our lives. It was like He accelerated everything He had for us. In such a short time.
Yes.
Our marriage got better. He provided promotions for us at work.
God gave me a promotion that I didn't even search for. They came looking for me at my job to offer me a position that they weren't even going to post because they said that job was for me.
I got 2 promotions in 1 year.
Yes, that's
2
right.
promotions in 1 year, not even looking for them.
It all started with that act of faith, that seed that we sowed. We were spinning our wheels. We wanted all of these things. We wanted God to bless our marriage. We wanted God to bless our careers. We wanted Him to bless our home, to bless our finances. And we were killing ourselves trying to do it by our own strength. And that act of faith of saying, God, we're tired of doing things the way we've always done it. We want to do it the way your word says. And this is how we're going to prove to you by sowing the seed, giving you the very first of what you've given us completely back to you, down to the penny, our entire first paycheck. And we've seen that come back to us in ways that we could have never even predicted or even prayed for. God has to be true to His word. And in His word, He says, you will reap what? If you sow.
Amen.
So when you sow, now God has no choice but to be faithful to His word and to allow us to reap. So we sowed again, knowing that it's going to come back to us, pressed down, shaken together, overflowing in so many ways that if we saw amazing things this year, imagine what we're going to see now in 2020.